She told you she loved you, and then one day she just pulled away. No big fight, no clear reason, just distance, silence, coldness. If you've ever stared at your phone, wondering what changed overnight, if you've replayed every conversation, searching for the mistake you never made, then this video is exactly for you. Because here's the truth. Sometimes her pulling away has nothing to do with you. And what Stoic men know might save your sanity, your self-respect, and even the relationship. In this video, we're diving deep into why she pulls away, what it really means, and how to stay calm, powerful, and emotionally centered the Stoic way. Let me take you back. A friend of mine, let's call him David, was dating a woman who adored him. They laughed, talked for hours, and even said, "I love you." Then, slowly, the texts came less often. The warmth faded. David panicked. He tried harder. More messages, more effort, more confusion. And the more he chased, the colder she became. What happened? That story, and the Stoic truths he learned from it, could change the way you see love forever. So if you've ever felt this way, drop a comment that says, "I've been there." Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you want to master emotional clarity and power in your relationships. You thought everything was going well. She looked into your eyes and said she loved you, and you believed it because it felt real. She laughed at your jokes, held your hand tightly, leaned into you like you were her anchor. Then something changed. Not overnight, but it was there. Subtle at first, slower replies, vague excuses, a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. And now, you're left in the silence, wondering, was any of it real? This is one of the most emotionally disorienting moments a man can face. To feel love, then feel it slip away without explanation. You try to stay calm, but the questions come in like waves. Did I say something wrong? Is she losing interest? Should I ask her what's going on? Or just wait? Here's what most men do. They react. They reach out more, trying to fix the silence. But here's the thing, when someone pulls away and you chase, you don't bring them back. You just confirm their need for space. The worst part? It feels personal. But what if I told you, her pulling away might have very little to do with you? It sounds impossible, right? But stay with me. Because once you understand what might be going on in her mind, and how Stoic men handle this exact situation, things will start making sense. Let's move into the next part and unpack why women pull away even when they still care. One of the biggest mistakes we make is thinking every shift in her energy must be a reaction to something we did. But relationships, especially in the emotional world of women, aren't that linear. Sometimes, she pulls away not because she stopped loving you, but because she's overwhelmed by what she feels. Yes, overwhelmed by love itself. Let's break this down. Some women, especially those with anxious or avoidant attachment styles, instinctively retreat when emotions get too intense. It's not logic. It's survival mode. She might love you deeply, but love has opened up old wounds, past fears, or insecurities she hasn't faced yet. So when things start feeling too real, too good, too close, her instinct is to pull back. Not to hurt you, but to protect herself. Here's the twist. The more stable and available you are, the more it can scare someone who's never known safe love before. It's like offering a calm sea to someone who's only ever known storms. It feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar can feel unsafe. And sometimes it's not even that deep. She might be stressed, emotionally drained, going through something she doesn't know how to talk about. But when you assume it's about you, and push harder, demand answers, or try to win her back, you unknowingly push her further away. So what do Stoic men do instead? They don't chase explanations. They observe. They understand that her pullback could be her process, not a rejection of who they are. And that response, calm, grounded, non-reactive, often speaks louder than any words you could say. Ready to understand how that mindset works? Let's step into the Stoic frame of mind. When chaos hits, when emotions swirl, when silence fills the room, when someone you love starts pulling away, most people panic. They try to fix, to explain, to hold tighter. But Stoic men? They don't rush into the storm. They anchor themselves. Because here's what they know. You can't control her emotions. You can't force connection. You can only master one thing, your response. This is the essence of Stoicism. Not being emotionless, but being emotionally intelligent. To feel the ache and still choose clarity over reaction. Picture Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, surrounded by war, betrayal, uncertainty. And yet, every morning he journaled his thoughts, reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Apply that to your relationship. She's distant, notice it, accept it, but don't let it shatter your core. Instead of texting again and again, you breathe, you go for that run, you dive into your purpose. You become the calm in the chaos, and that changes everything. Because guess what? Women notice. They feel when a man is grounded, when his love is strong, but not desperate, when his presence says, I'm here, but I don't beg. I love you, but I don't abandon myself. That's what Stoic strength looks like. And it's the foundation for everything we'll cover next. Let's now explore what to actually do when she pulls away, and why chasing is the worst move you can make. When she starts pulling away, the urge to chase can feel overwhelming. You tell yourself, if I just explain, if I show her how much I care, she'll come back. But here's the harsh truth. Chasing doesn't bring her closer, pushes her further. Why? Because chasing says, I need you to feel okay. It's pressure. It's fear in disguise. And nothing repels someone more than the energy of desperation. So what do Stoic men do? They don't freeze, but they also don't chase. They pivot. First, they pause. No sudden moves. Number 3 paragraph texts. They sit with the discomfort. They feel it, but they don't act from it. Second, they observe. Is she overwhelmed? Testing boundaries? Going through something personal? Stoic men gather data, not drama. Third, they continue living. They show emotional stability not by saying I'm fine, but by being fine. That means sticking to your routine, hitting the gym, diving into your work, not as a game but as a return to your center. Because here's the paradox. When you give her the space she subconsciously asked for, you remind her of your value. You remind her you're not dependent on her affection to function. It's magnetic. And if she comes back, it's not because you chased. It's because your strength gave her room to miss you. Remember this, you don't have to do more. You have to be more centered, calm, unmoved by temporary distance. Let's go even deeper into why stepping back can actually pull her closer. Coming up next. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? She's pulling away, and I'm supposed to step back too? Yes. And here's why. Love, just like fire, needs air to breathe. Smother it, and it dies. Give it space, and it glows even brighter. When you step back with intention, not out of spite, not to manipulate, but out of self-respect, something shifts. You stop pushing against her wall. You allow her the room to miss your presence, your energy, your calm. Most men don't do this. They chase. They cling. They crowd. And in doing so, they confirm her fear that the connection is emotionally unsafe. But the Stoic man? He doesn't retreat in weakness. He steps back in strength. And that space becomes a mirror. It shows her not only what she's missing, but who she might lose. Because stepping back doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough about yourself to not beg for breadcrumbs. And here's the beautiful truth. Women often lean in when they feel the absence of your presence, not the weight of your pursuit. So let the space do its work. Let her feel what life is like without your steady energy. And if she returns, she'll come back to a man who didn't lose himself trying to keep her. Up next, we'll explore the quiet strength that radiates when you stay still, and how women are drawn to it without even realizing why. Stillness is misunderstood. People think it means doing nothing, being passive, checked out. But in Stoicism, stillness is power. It's not about freezing. It's about choosing your response with clarity. When emotions swirl, when drama knocks at the door, when love feels uncertain, stillness says, I don't react. I reflect. This quiet strength is magnetic, not loud, not flashy, but felt. And women, they feel it. They notice when a man is unfazed, not because he doesn't care, but because he's anchored in who he is. Think of a lighthouse during a storm. Waves crash, wind howls, but the lighthouse stands. And ships, even in chaos, are drawn to it for safety. That's you, or that's who you become when you stop explaining, pleading, reacting, and instead return to stillness. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to chase to be valued. You don't need to prove your worth because your stillness already proves it. And this energy, it shifts the dynamic entirely. You stop being the one trying to fix love. You become the one worthy of it. Next, we'll look at something women often do without realizing it, emotional testing, and how the Stoic man passes without playing. She may not even know she's doing it, but women often test the men they care about most. Not because they're cruel, but because part of them wants to know, is he real? Is he strong? Can he handle me? All of me? And these tests, they rarely come with warning signs. They show up as silence after vulnerability, mood swings after intimacy, even sudden distance right after saying, I love you. It's not a game. It's an emotional reflex, a way to feel safe by confirming that your love isn't fragile, reactive, or conditional. But here's where most men fail. They get frustrated. They demand explanations. They try to talk it out when she's in withdrawal mode. But the Stoic man? He recognizes the test, and he passes it quietly. He doesn't engage the chaos. He holds steady. He doesn't retaliate or collapse. He stays rooted in truth, not emotion. And that is what breaks the cycle. Because when a woman sees that her storm doesn't shake your foundation, she feels safer. She sees you not just as a lover, but as a man she can trust. Not every test is conscious. Not every reaction is rational. But every moment is a chance to show her and yourself that you're not here to react. You're here to lead with calm. And that changes everything. Now let's go deeper because mastering emotional control is only part of it. What really matters is what you do with that strength, especially when she's no longer the center of your world. It's easy to get consumed by what she's thinking, what she's feeling, what she's doing or not doing. But here's the hard truth. If your emotional state depends on hers, you've already given away your power. Stoic men know this. They don't just manage her pullbacks. They master their own inner world. That means doing the deeper work, not just reacting less, but growing more. Ask yourself, when she's distant, do you spiral or do you rise? Do you use that space to build or to obsess? This is your chance to become more than a boyfriend, more than a man seeking love. It's your chance to become whole with or without her. And how do you do that? You build structure, morning routines, daily goals, journaling, fitness, focus, not as distractions, but as pillars of identity. You reflect. You ask, what's this space teaching me about myself? You take responsibility not for her choices but for your reactions. And in doing that, you become the kind of man who no longer needs validation because he already validates himself. That's the shift, from chasing love to embodying it. So the next time she pulls away, it won't shake you, because you've already built the one thing no one can take away, you. And in that strength, something beautiful happens. You start to love differently, not with fear, but with grounded depth. Let's explore that next. Most people think love is loud. Constant texts, constant reassurance, constant proving. But Stoic men, they love quietly, deeply, steadily, without chaos. They don't say, I love you to get a reaction. They say it when it's real, and whether it's returned or not, they stand by it. Because for the Stoic man, love isn't a transaction. It's not, I give affection so you'll stay. It's, I offer love because it reflects who I am. This kind of love feels different. It doesn't suffocate. It creates space for trust, for safety, for authenticity. Women can feel it. Not the clinging kind of love that says, don't leave, but the rooted kind that says, I'm whole, and I choose you. And that's powerful. Because when love comes from fullness, not fear, it gives instead of demands. It offers presence, not pressure. It welcomes freedom, not control. It also means knowing when to step back and when to walk away, not out of anger, but out of self-respect. That's next, because sometimes the strongest love is the one that can let go with peace. Letting go doesn't always mean giving up. Sometimes it's the final act of love for her and for yourself. There comes a point where you've stayed steady, you've given space, you've stood strong, and still, nothing changes. She remains distant, confused, or worse, indifferent. And that's when the Stoic man knows it's time to walk away, not to punish, not to guilt, but because your peace costs too much to lose. You see, walking away isn't weakness. It's clarity. It says, I showed up fully. I loved with depth. But I will not lose myself to keep someone else. And when you walk away with dignity, not drama, you carry something rare. Self-respect. It hurts, yes, but it also heals. Because it teaches you that the most powerful love starts with how you treat yourself. And often, when you finally let go, she sees clearly. Maybe she returns. Maybe she doesn't. But either way, you win. Because you didn't betray yourself. So if you're facing that moment, if the silence has dragged on too long, if you've tried, stayed grounded, and still feel empty, maybe this is your signal. And maybe the next chapter isn't about getting her back, but about coming back to you. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below. Let me know. Are you on the Stoic path too? And if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, and share it with a brother who needs to hear this.